All right. Good morning, Reagan. How are you
Good
today?
morning. I'm good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. All right. So let's jump right into it. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your last position and what a typical day looked like in that role.
At not my current position, the previous one, correct?
It's the last position you worked at.
Okay. My name is Reagan. I am currently an HR specialist for a government contractor named Improvera. Before that position, I was a data entry / research coordinator for a law firm. Supported about 500 attorneys at that law firm in the finance department. Most of my day was, as the title says, data entry, but as on top of that, I also worked with our research with our data and pulling records for our attorneys when it came to cases that they were working on, whether they were in litigation, actually in court, just whatever that they needed, I was assisted to them as needed.
Fantastic. Now tell me a little bit about the typical day in your current role working in HR as an HR specialist.
Sure. So every day is different. It's HR, right? So every day it fluctuates. Most of the time I do a lot of work with our recruiting and onboarding, getting people into our system. And I also do a lot of work with our termination process as well. Most of what I do essentially is employee retention. So just if they have any questions needing help with their benefits, or if they need assistance with a leave of absence or FMLA, I'm kind of their go-to representative. And if I don't have a question, to just kind of point them in the right direction. But most of what I do is employee retention.
All right. Fantastic. And what industry are you supporting right now?
Currently, like I said, I'm in federal contracting. So most of what we do, it's kind of different contracts in different parts of the country. So we support FBI, we support the DOD. We've also had contracts where we support the post office. We're working on getting a contract that supports NASA. Just kind of different things here and there.
Fantastic. Very impressive. Now, I want you to paint a little bit of a picture for me in regards to where you spend majority of like these percentages of time. Like I know you do a little bit of everything, the recruiting, onboarding, training, things like that. Where would you say you're spending most of your time? Kind of break it down for me like that.
I would say maybe 50% of my time just goes to recruiting, onboarding, and terminations. I'm kind of like the beginning and end for a lot of these people. But I've also assisted in, like I said, I would say maybe another 25% would be workers' compensation, FMLA, leave of absence, things like that. And then 25% of what I do solely by myself is basically federal regulations. So I'm actually currently working on my company's AAP. We have to update that for federal regulations. I also maintain EEO requirements, company documents, things like that, just federal regulations for the most part.
Fantastic. And so how many employees work at the current company that you're supporting?
Currently, we have about 200. It fluctuates based on contracts, obviously, and also because, unfortunately, like every other company with COVID, we were hit pretty hard a couple of years back. So we've kind of fluctuated. At one point, we had about 400, then we were down to about 50, and now we're back up to about 200. So it always, I've kind of seen both ends.
Okay. And how many out of those 200, how many departments are you supporting?
So departments, I work in corporate, so really I manage each contract, if you will, if you look at it as a department. And right now we have about 7 different contracts that.
Okay, fantastic. All right, great. Which HRIS software are you most fluent with?
We are mostly working in ADP Workforce Now. One of our contracts works with Deltek, so I've kind of dabbled in that a little bit, but it's mainly ADP Workforce Now.
All right, fantastic. And I know you mentioned that you were working in the legal industry prior. You were working for a corporate attorney, doing a lot of data entry and stuff. What made you get into HR?
Oh, well, I really enjoyed, I needed to get into corporate America. At a young age, I knew that me sitting in the office, that was for me. So I really got lucky with my shoe-in with the law firm, and I was able to get a lot of experience with them and understand just fundamentally what it's like to work in an office. And then as I got older, I realized maybe data entry isn't for me forever. But I did realize that I really enjoyed helping people when it came to like the research projects. And some people would come to me and say, hey, I really need to get this done. And I enjoyed the rush of like helping someone get what they needed. And I realized quickly that a position for me in HR would kind of like fulfill that. So I reached out to a colleague of mine who was starting his company within Primavera. He was small at the time, and I said, hey, this is what I want to do, and I'd love to do it for you. So I started working for Primavera. At first, I was the CEO's executive assistant. So that satisfaction of helping out was there. And as we grew, I was given the option to, if I wanted to, I could kind of move into an HR position, which really opened up a lot of other avenues when it comes to helping. I'm a people person, so that really appealed to me. So the idea of going into HR from there was pretty much how it got started.
Okay, I love that. I love that path, and I like that story because I like that as the opportunity presented itself to you, you weren't afraid to go for it and get out of your comfort zone, and realizing what was going to make you successful in the role based on what was important to you, on your values and things like that. So I think that's awesome. What would you say is one of your biggest strengths that you're going to bring with you to your next company?
I would say you're not going to find someone more passionate than me. Honestly, I have a drive, and nothing's going to stop me until it gets done. I've been told that I can be a little bit hard-headed, and I know that just comes from a place of like, I have a project, it's going to get done. So you're not going to find someone as passionate as me. I promise you that.
Okay, fantastic. What is the most important thing to you about the next company that you work for?
For me, I mean, everyone, when it comes to a job, everyone wants to be compensated correctly. But what's most important to me truly is, as long as we have a good cultural environment. I've worked in places before that we don't have that. And I know that I thrive as an employee where we all can come together and communicate and just work well together to get things done.
Fantastic. Reagan, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and chat with you a little bit more if that sounds good.
Sure.